Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're exploring the transformative field of behavior analysis. The journey to becoming a board-certified behavior analyst, or BCBA, it's rigorous, it's deeply rewarding, but it definitely requires mastering a significant amount of information. We understand that can feel a bit daunting sometimes, whether you're a seasoned pro looking to stay sharp or someone just starting out on this really impactful career path. Our mission today is, well, to cut through that complexity. We want to zero in on some of the most critical concepts for BCBA certification. Think of this as your exclusive masterclass, kind of, designed to equip you with essential knowledge, pinpoint common pitfalls, and offer smart strategies for exam success. All wrapped up in an engaging quiz format that will truly get you thinking about applied behavior analysis in action.
Exactly. And we're drawing our insights from a curated stack of sources, specifically Flash Genius practice question guides across crucial BCBA domains. We've pulled examples from sections covering things like behavior change procedures, foundations of behavior analysis, professional conduct, and also supervision and personnel management. These aren't just random questions, right? They're carefully selected scenarios. They highlight key principles and, common areas of focus on the actual BCBA exam, designed to push your understanding beyond just memorizing stuff.
That's right. So whether you're actively studying for your certification or maybe catching up on the latest in the field, or perhaps you're just immensely curious about the meticulous work of behavior analysts, get ready to test your knowledge. Let's dive in and uncover some valuable insights together. All right, let's unpack this. We're about to jump into a series of 10 practice questions. Now, these aren't just designed to test your recall. They're structured to make you think like a BCBA, to apply those concepts you've been learning to real-world scenarios. For each question, take a moment, consider your answer, and then we'll reveal the correct choice and, more importantly, the why behind it. We'll explore the deeper implications.
Yeah, and to give you a sense of scale, like why these particular domains are so crucial, just think about their weighting on the actual exam. Behavior change procedures, that typically represents a significant chunk, maybe 20–30% of the BCBA exam questions. It reflects their direct application in practice, obviously. Then you've got professional conduct and scope of practice, along with supervision and personnel management. Each of those accounts for a substantial bit too, maybe 10–15%. So this deep dive will touch upon these vital interconnected areas, highlighting concepts essential not just for passing the exam, but for ethical, effective, and truly impactful practice in the field.
Okay, first up, let's tackle a classic scenario in behavior change. This kind of thing comes up constantly in practice. A behavior analyst is working with a child who frequently engages in tantrums when asked to complete non-preferred tasks. The behavior analyst decides to implement a differential reinforcement strategy. Which of the following is the most appropriate approach to decrease tantrum behavior while increasing task compliance? A. Differential reinforcement of other behavior, DRO. B. Differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior, DRA. C. Differential reinforcement of low rates of behavior, DRL.
Okay, so the correct answer here, if you look at the function of the behavior and the ultimate goal, which is skill acquisition, it's C, differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, DRA. DRA is, well, it's a uniquely powerful strategy because it directly involves reinforcing an alternative, more appropriate behavior, in this case, task compliance, that serves the same function as the problem behavior, the tantrums.
Right, the same function, that's key.
Exactly. It means we're actively teaching a child a better, more adaptive way to get their needs met. So, for example, if the tantrums function is escape, right, escape from a non-preferred task, we might reinforce any instance of appropriate task engagement or maybe an appropriate request for a break. By reinforcing this desired functional replacement behavior, we make it more likely to occur in the future. It effectively competes with and eventually, hopefully, replaces the undesirable tantrum behavior. Now, just to clarify why the others aren't quite right for this goal, A, DRO, differential reinforcement of other behavior, that reinforces the absence of the tantrum for a set time, but it doesn't explicitly teach a specific replacement behavior.
Okay, so the tantrum might stop, but they still might not do the task.
Precisely. Then B, DRI, differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior, would reinforce something physically impossible to do at the same time as the tantrum, like sitting quietly, hands in lap. But that specific incompatible behavior might not serve the same function as the tantrum, like escaping the task. And that function piece is crucial for long-term change. And finally, D, DRL, differential reinforcement of low rates of behavior. That just aims to reduce how often tantrums happen, not necessarily eliminate them or replace them with a functional skill. So that's often not the most comprehensive solution when you really want to teach compliance. DRA, focusing on that functional replacement, is usually the most constructive and sustainable approach. It builds a new, valuable skill.
That distinction, between simply stopping a behavior and actively cultivating a new functional skill, that's really profound, isn't it? It's not just managing a problem. It's about empowering the individual, giving them a better way to interact with their environment, giving them agency, independence. This proactive, constructive approach, it's just a cornerstone of ethical and effective ABA, moving beyond reactive stuff to genuine skill building.
Yeah.
Long-term positive impact.
That's it. It's what makes behavior analysis so potentially life-changing.
Okay, moving from client intervention to how we effectively build and train our teams, which is just as critical, right, for quality service delivery. So a BCBA is conducting a behavior skills training, or BST, session with a group of registered behavior technicians, RBTs. Which of the following components is essential for effective BST? Providing a detailed written manual only. B, demonstrating the skill and providing opportunities for rehearsal. C, focusing solely on verbal instruction. D, using punishment to correct mistakes during practice.
All right. The most essential component for effective behavior skills training here is, unequivocally, B, demonstrating the skill and providing opportunities for rehearsal. Now, a detailed manual A that provides crucial info, sure, and verbal instruction C, that can set the stage. But true skill acquisition in BST, it relies heavily on the supervisor modeling the behavior for the trainee, showing them how it's done, and then, crucially, giving them ample chances to practice it in a safe environment, immediately followed by constructive feedback.
The show, don't just tell principal.
Exactly. The demonstration part lets the RBTs visually observe the correct implementation, breaks down the abstract into concrete steps. Then the rehearsal provides that active practice needed to internalize the skill, build muscle memory, build confidence. Now, why the others fall short? Relying only on a written manual A, that often doesn't cut it, because many behavioral interventions involve subtle things, right? Motor skills, timing, nuances you just can't fully get from text.
Yeah, like trying to learn a dance move just from reading about it.
Perfect analogy. And similarly, focusing solely on verbal instruction, C, overlooks that critical doing aspect of learning. Just telling someone how doesn't mean they can do it effectively. And as for option D, using punishment to correct mistakes during practice, absolutely not. That is definitely not a component of BST. It's highly counterproductive.
Right. That sounds like it would just create anxiety.
Totally. It creates an aversive learning environment, increases anxiety, and ultimately hinders skill acquisition and motivation. It moves away from the positive, supportive environment BST aims for. The focus should always be on positive reinforcement for correct performance and constructive, specific feedback for improvement.
That makes so much sense. I mean, think about how you learn any new skill. You don't just read about it or listen to someone talk. You watch someone do it, then you try it yourself, ideally with some guidance. This hands-on interactive approach ensures RBTs aren't just memorizing steps, but truly mastering the application, applying complex procedures in real time. That's vital for consistent, high-quality client outcomes.
It's about building competence through direct experience. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that discussion about training RBTs in competence leads us perfectly into another critical area, professional ethics. It's not just what we do, but how we do it, right? Especially when navigating complex client situations. Like in this next question. A BCBA receives a referral for a client who presents with self-injurious behavior, or SIB. The BCBA has limited experience with SIB. What is the most ethical course of action? A, accept the referral and begin treatment using online resources to guide the intervention. B, accept the referral and utilize an existing treatment protocol without modifications. C, accept the referral and collaborate with a more experienced BCBA for consultation and supervision. D, reject the referral due to lack of experience.
Okay, this is a really important one. The ethical and competent choice here, the one that prioritizes client welfare above all else, is C. Accept the referral and collaborate with a more experienced BCBA for consultation and supervision. Self-injurious behavior, SIB, it can be profoundly complex, a serious challenge. It often requires specialized expertise. Now, rejecting the referral, D, because you lack experience might seem safe, but it's not always necessary or even the most beneficial for the client if competence can be built and maintained through ethical mentorship and supervision.
So it's not an automatic no if you haven't done it much before.
Not necessarily. The BACB's ethical guidelines strongly advocate for seeking consultation when working outside your established areas of competence. Collaboration is key. Let's look at why the other options are problematic. Accepting the referral and just relying on, say, generic online resources, A, or an existing unmodified treatment protocol, B, doing that without specific expertise or oversight significantly risks client safety and effective treatment.
Yeah, online stuff can be helpful, but it's not the same as tailored expertise.
It's exactly. Online resources are good for general info, but they don't replace the nuanced, individualized decision-making needed for a complex case like SIB. Similarly, an existing protocol might not be right for the specific client's unique presentation or the function of their SIB. Prioritizing client welfare means recognizing your limits, actively seeking the expertise needed to provide the highest standard of care. This ensures the client gets appropriate evidence-based treatment while also allowing the BCBA to expand their own competency under ethical guidance. This collaborative model, it really embodies both client advocacy and professional development.
That's a really important ethical tightrope walk. It speaks volumes about professional integrity, doesn't it? And that commitment to continuous learning. It highlights that, yeah, you're not expected to know everything, but you are ethically and professionally expected to know when and how to ask for help, and maybe more importantly, who to ask. It leads me to wonder, though, what happens if a BCBA can't find a more experienced colleague for consultation, maybe in their immediate area? Or if the client's needs are so specialized that local expertise is truly limited? Are there other ethical paths? Or at what point does rejecting the referral become the only real option, even if it's difficult?
That's an excellent, very practical question. It really speaks to the challenges sometimes faced in, say, rural areas or with highly specialized cases. So if direct ongoing consultation isn't feasible, a BCBA would first need to exhaust other avenues for obtaining competence. This could mean intensive training programs, attending specialized workshops, maybe seeking remote consultation from an expert BCBA, making sure the format meets supervision requirements. Documenting all these efforts is absolutely critical.
Document everything.
Got it.
Right. However, if, after all those reasonable attempts to gain the necessary competence and supervision, the BCBA determines they still cannot ethically and effectively serve the client, then yes, rejecting the referral and assisting the client in finding a more appropriate provider would become the ethical course of action. The key distinction is that rejecting due to lack of experience, option D, is often a last resort. It comes after actively trying to build the necessary competence through consultation and training. The client's best interest and the BCBA's ability to deliver services within their scope always dictate the decision. That clarifies the nuances beautifully. It really reinforces that ethical practice isn't always simple choices. It's often about navigating complex realities with diligence, with documentation, and with a clear focus on client well-being. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's look at managing a team effectively, especially when they're spread out across different environments. A BCBA is responsible for supervising multiple RBTs across different locations. What is the most effective way to ensure consistent, high-quality supervision? A, schedule regular group supervision sessions via video conferencing. B, send weekly emails summarizing key points and updates. C, visit each location in person on a rotating schedule. D, assign a lead RBT at each location to oversee others.
Okay, balancing effectiveness and practicality here. The most effective way to ensure consistent, high-quality supervision in this scenario is often A. Schedule regular group supervision sessions via video conferencing. Now, in-person visits, see, they definitely have benefits for direct observation, no doubt, but they can be logistically challenging, expensive too, to conduct frequently enough for multiple RBTs across diverse locations.
Yeah, that travel time adds up.
It really does. And emails, B, they're good for supplemental info, updates, sure, but they lack that interactive real-time feedback and discussion that's essential for true supervision. Assigning a lead RBT that can help with local support, peer mentorship, absolutely. But it doesn't replace the direct required oversight and guidance from the BCBA. The BCBA is ultimately responsible. So regular, direct, interactive communication, especially in a group setting via video conferencing, offers a really robust solution. It ensures consistent support by providing a standardized form for training. It allows for real-time feedback, problem solving. It helps build a cohesive sense of team, a shared clinical understanding, even when people are geographically separated.
And you can still observe things, right? Like role-playing or reviewing video clips.
Absolutely. Crucially, it allows the BCBA to observe and provide feedback on RBT interactions, maybe through video review or live observation features. You can discuss complex client cases, address ethical dilemmas, ensure adherence to intervention plans in a dynamic, observable way. Many supervision guidelines explicitly allow for remote supervision when it's conducted effectively, and video conferencing is a powerful tool for this. So this approach offers a balance: direct engagement, logistical feasibility, and the ability to maintain standardized training and quality control across all supervisees.
That's a powerful statement about modern practice, isn't it? In today's interconnected world, leveraging technology isn't just a convenience, it's really a game changer. For maintaining those vital connections, ensuring quality across the board. It allows for effective and efficient supervision strategies, adapting to the reality of spread out teams while upholding the highest standards. It really expands our reach and impact.
Yeah, definitely. It makes quality supervision more accessible.
Okay, let's bring our focus back to the client now, specifically on a crucial step in skill acquisition, fostering independence. A client with autism is learning to use a communication device to request items. The behavior analyst notices the client is only using the device when prompted, not spontaneously. What is the best strategy to increase spontaneous use of the device? A. Increase the number of prompts. B. Implement a time delay procedure. C. Use a physical prompt hierarchy. D. Conduct a preference assessment.
Right. The goal here is spontaneous use, true independence. So the best strategy is B. Implement a time delay procedure. This procedure is specifically designed to fade prompts systematically and encourage initiation. Basically, it involves introducing a brief but increasing delay between the natural cue, like seeing a desired item, and when you give the prompt.
Okay, so you wait a bit before prompting.
Exactly. This delay creates an opportunity for the client to initiate communication independently, spontaneously, before the prompt is given. If the client responds during that delay, great. They get reinforcement for independent behavior. If they don't, the prompt is delivered, and they still get reinforced for responding. But the goal is to gradually shift control from the prompt to the natural environmental cues. Now, let's look at why the other options are less effective for this specific goal. Increasing prompts, A. That would actually maintain or even strengthen the client's dependence on prompts.
Right, the opposite of what we want.
Precisely. A physical prompt hierarchy might be used earlier in teaching to establish the skill itself, like the motor movements of using the device. You'd start with full physical guidance and fade it. But it doesn't directly address the spontaneity of initiation once the skill is learned. And while a preference assessment is absolutely crucial, you always need to know what motivates the client, right? It should be ongoing. But it doesn't directly address the prompt dependency or encourage spontaneous initiation itself.
So it tells you what they want, but not how to get them to ask on their own.
Exactly. The time delay procedure directly targets that gap between prompted responding and spontaneous behavior.
That goal of genuine spontaneous independence is just so powerful. It's like teaching someone to ride a bike. You provide support, maybe hold on for a bit, but the real success is when they pedal off on their own, not just when you're pushing them. Achieving that self-initiation, that's where true mastery and lasting change lie. It's far more empowering for the individual.
It really is. It's about them driving their own communication.
Okay, let's break down another fundamental skill acquisition strategy. This one's foundational for teaching complex tasks. Imagine a client with autism learning to wash their hands independently. This seems simple, but it's actually a sequence of many smaller steps, right? To teach such a complex skill, behavior analysts often break it down into these individual, manageable components. That process is called task analysis. So with a task analysis in hand, what is the most appropriate method to ensure the client learns each step effectively? A. Implement backward chaining to teach the steps. B. Teach all steps simultaneously using total task presentation. C. Use forward chaining to teach the steps. D. Allow the client to attempt the task without guidance.
Right. For a chain task like hand washing, where the natural reinforcement, clean hands, happens at the very end of the sequence, often the most appropriate method is A. Implement backward chaining. Backward chaining focuses on teaching the final step of the task first. Once the client mastered that last step, the analyst then teaches the second to last step, which leads directly into the already mastered final step.
So you work backwards from the end.
Exactly. This continues until the entire chain is learned from beginning to end. The huge benefit here is that the client completes the task successfully on every single trial, with assistance for the earlier unlearned steps. And they immediately receive the natural reinforcement associated with completing the task, like those clean hands, or maybe just a sense of accomplishment. This immediate, consistent reinforcement can be highly motivating. It builds momentum, reduces frustration. Now, let's quickly differentiate that from the others. C. Forward chaining is also effective, don't get me wrong. That's where you teach the first step, then the first two, and so on. But the natural reinforcer is only encountered after the entire chain is completed independently.
So it takes longer to get the payoff.
Right. For tasks with a strong natural reinforcer at the end, backward chaining often provides quicker, more robust learning. B. Total task presentation involves teaching all steps at once, with prompts for any steps the client can't do. This can work for clients who learn quickly or for shorter chains. But for someone who might struggle with many steps, it can be overwhelming, lead to more errors, more frustration. And finally, D, allowing the client to attempt the task without guidance. Well, for a multi-step task, that would likely just lead to frustration, errors, and probably not much learning. The client might not know how to do the earlier steps and wouldn't reach that natural reinforcer at the end. So backward chaining, by providing that immediate success and reinforcement, it's often a really efficient and motivating teaching strategy.
It's fascinating how backward chaining leverages those fundamental principles of reinforcement, isn't it? By ensuring success at the very end, we make the natural consequence, the clean hands, immediately accessible and highly reinforcing. Creates powerful momentum. This strategy really highlights how critical it is to understand the behavioral science behind why certain teaching methods are so effective, even when they seem counterintuitive at first glance.
It's all about engineering success for the learner.
Okay, let's consider another ethical tightrope walk for a BCBA. This is where professional integrity and client welfare really come into sharp focus. A behavior analyst is pressured by an employer to increase billable hours by extending session times unnecessarily. What should the analyst do? A. Comply with the request to maintain employment. B. Refuse and explain that billing should be based on ethical service delivery. C. Extend session times but provide additional services. D. Reduce session frequency to balance the extended times.
Okay, this one should be pretty clear-cut from an ethical standpoint. The clear, unequivocal ethical choice is B. Refuse and explain that billing should be based on ethical service delivery. Complying with unethical requests to extend sessions unnecessarily. That compromises the integrity of the whole profession. It can be considered fraudulent billing. And most importantly, it directly harms clients by charging for services that aren't clinically necessary or aren't provided for legitimate therapeutic reasons.
The client always comes first.
Always. The BCBA's primary responsibility is to the client, ensuring they receive effective and appropriate services, and that billing reflects those services accurately and ethically, period. Let's look at the alternatives just to be thorough. Option A, complying to keep your job. That's a direct violation of the ethical code. It could lead to severe professional consequences, even losing your certification. Option C, extending sessions but providing additional services. Well, while providing additional needed services is always good, extending sessions solely for billing purposes is unethical, even if you fill the time with something else. The service has to be driven by client need, not financial pressure.
Right, the motivation behind it matters.
Absolutely. And option D, reducing session frequency. That doesn't really address the core unethical request, which is about extending individual session times unnecessarily. So option B upholds the fundamental principles, professional conduct, client welfare. Even in challenging situations, it shows a commitment to the ethical code above external pressures. That's a cornerstone of responsible, trustworthy practice in our field. It's really non-negotiable.
I agree completely that ethical integrity is paramount. But let's be realistic, workplace pressures can be immense sometimes. It's easy to feel caught between, loyalty to an employer and your ethical obligations. What practical steps can a BCBA take if they're facing that kind of pressure, beyond just saying no? Are there specific resources or maybe advocacy groups within the field that can support them in upholding ethical standards without necessarily jeopardizing their career?
That's a vital consideration for every practitioner. Absolutely. It's not always easy. So, beyond the direct refusal, a BCBA should first clearly articulate the ethical guidelines. Point to the specific sections in the VACB's Professional and Ethical Compliance Code to their employer. Explain why the request is problematic and outline the potential consequences for the BCBA, sure, but also for the organization. Documenting these conversations is crucial. Keep records.
Get it in writing, if possible.
Ideally, yes. If the pressure persists, the BCBA has a responsibility to escalate the concern through appropriate channels within the organization. Maybe there's a compliance officer or HR. If internal avenues fail, then yes, there are external resources. The Behavior Analyst Certification Board, BACB itself, provides guidance on ethical conduct and has a mechanism for reporting ethical violations, though that's typically a later step. Also, professional organizations like the Association for Behavior Analysis International, ABAI, or state-level ABA associations often have ethics committees or resources. They can provide confidential advice and support, helping BCBAs navigate these difficult situations while protecting both their clients and their professional standing.
So there are lifelines available.
There are. It's about knowing your code, knowing your resources, and having a strategy for upholding ethics, even when it's tough.
That's incredibly helpful. It offers practical pathways for BCBAs to navigate these complex ethical dilemmas with support and integrity. Okay, let's tackle a common challenge supervisors face: addressing performance issues constructively within their team. A BCBA is supervising a new RBT who frequently makes errors when implementing behavior intervention plans. What is the most effective initial step the BCBA should take to address this issue? A. Increase the frequency of feedback sessions. B. Develop a performance improvement plan. C. Conduct a skills assessment to identify specific training needs. D. Provide a written warning to the RBT.
All right, thinking about a proactive and supportive supervisory approach here, the most effective initial step is C. Conduct a skills assessment to identify specific training needs. Before jumping to disciplinary action like a written warning,
Right.
D, or even just vaguely increasing feedback, which might not be targeted enough, a comprehensive skills assessment helps pinpoint exactly where the RBT's knowledge or skill gap lies.
So figure out why the errors are happening first.
Exactly. Is it a lack of understanding of the principles? Is it a skill deficit in applying the procedure correctly? Maybe it's a problem with discrimination knowing when to do what, or generalization. Could there even be an environmental barrier we're not aware of? This diagnostic step is crucial because without a clear understanding of the root cause of the errors, any intervention, whether it's more feedback or a performance improvement plan B, might be misdirected. It could be ineffective. Once you identify the specific needs through the assessment, then you can apply precise, individualized training and support. For instance, if the assessment shows a specific procedural step is consistently missed, the BCBA can then implement targeted behavior skills training, BST, just for that component. Provide modeling, rehearsal, specific feedback.
Makes sense. Target the actual problem.
Right. It's far more efficient, constructive, and ultimately effective than just a broad or punitive approach. It fosters growth, improves client outcomes, rather than simple reprimanding. A performance improvement plan B that would typically come after an assessment has clearly defined the specific deficits and the necessary steps for remediation, because a PIP needs specific goals and metrics based on that assessment.
That's a fantastic point about effective leadership. It's about being a detective, not just a judge, right? Understanding the root cause of the error is crucial for truly effective intervention and support for your team members. Leads to better outcomes for clients and a stronger, more confident RBT too.
It's a proactive and supportive approach, fosters growth. That detective work really differentiates effective supervision.
Okay, let's move on to a widely used and incredibly versatile intervention strategy, especially common in educational or group settings. A behavior analyst is using a token economy to increase on-task behavior in a classroom. What is a critical consideration to ensure the effectiveness of the token economy? A. Ensure that tokens are paired with verbal praise every time they are given. B. Use the same reinforcers for all students to maintain consistency. C. Allow students to exchange tokens for reinforcers at any time during the day. D. Increase the number of tokens required to earn a reinforcer as soon as students show improvement.
Okay, token economies. A truly critical consideration here, especially for long-term effectiveness and natural generalization, is A. Ensure that tokens are paired with verbal praise every time they are given. This practice is really foundational. It helps make the social environment itself reinforcing. Consistently pairing tokens with verbal praise enhances the reinforcing value of the praise itself, because the social praise acts as a conditioned reinforcer.
Conditioned reinforcer, meaning it gets its power from being paired with other reinforcers.
Exactly. It gains reinforcing power because it's consistently paired with other already established reinforcers like the tokens themselves and the backup reinforcers they purchase. This process makes the praise a powerful motivator on its own. It allows us to eventually, hopefully, fade out the tangible tokens as the social praise becomes sufficient to maintain the desired behavior. The goal is often to shift control from the artificial token system to more natural social reinforcers. Now, considering the other options, B, using the exact same reinforcers for all students, that's usually not effective because, well, preferences differ.
Right, what one kid loves, another might not care about.
Precisely. Individualizing backup reinforcers, maybe using choice boards based on preference assessments, that's actually a key component of an effective token economy. C. Allowing students to exchange tokens for reinforcers at any time during the day. That might disrupt instruction or make the exchange process kind of chaotic. Typically, specific exchange times are set to manage this efficiently, though immediate exchange can sometimes be beneficial for really young learners or those with severe behavior. And D, increasing the number of tokens required as soon as students show improvement. That can be demotivating if you do it too quickly or without careful thought. While thinning the schedule of reinforcement requiring more tokens for a reinforcer is part of fading the system eventually, it needs to be done gradually, systematically, to maintain motivation. not abruptly. So that pairing with social praise, A, is fundamental. It built a more robust and generalizable system.
That really illuminates the nuances, doesn't it, of designing effective reinforcement systems. It's not just about the tangible reward of the token, it's profoundly about the social connection, the affirmation that comes with it. That consistent social praise truly strengthens the entire system. It helps generalize motivation, making the intervention more sustainable, more transferable to natural environments.
Helps build intrinsic motivation, yeah. Makes the system more robust than just a simple transaction.
Okay, our final quiz question. This brings us back to the core scientific principles that underpin our entire field. A BCBA is developing a new intervention for a client. What is the most ethical way to ensure the intervention is evidence-based? A, use interventions that have worked with other clients. B, consult recent peer-reviewed research relevant to the intervention. C, rely on personal experience and intuition. D, implement the intervention and adjust based on client response.
All right, the cornerstone question. The most ethical and professionally responsible way to ensure an intervention is evidence-based is B, consult recent peer-reviewed research relevant to the intervention. This is the bedrock of our profession. Now, personal experience, C, that offers valuable insights, absolutely. And ongoing client response, D, that absolutely guides adjustments and individualization, we're data-driven. But grounding interventions in scientific evidence is paramount. It aligns with our commitment to evidence-based practice. It ensures interventions are supported by rigorous, empirically sound study, not just, anecdotal success or intuition.
It protects clients, right? Minimizes risk.
Exactly. It protects clients by minimizing the risk of using ineffective or potentially harmful interventions. And it upholds professional standards by ensuring we're applying the best available science. Let's look quickly at why the others fall short. Relying solely on past client success, A, or personal experience and intuition, C, that doesn't guarantee the intervention is evidence-based for the current client. Each individual is unique. What worked for one might not work for another without supporting research. And while adjusting based on client response, D is critical, reflects that data-driven approach, it should always occur within an evidence-based framework. So start with the science, then tweak based on data. Precisely. You start with what the science suggests is likely to be effective. Then you adapt based on the individual's data. But the initial foundation must be empirically sound. The ethical code for behavior analysts explicitly mandates that we use scientifically supported and evidence-based practices to the best of our ability. This continuous engagement with research, it keeps us at the forefront of the field, ensures the highest quality of care.
That principle of evidence-based practice truly is the bedrock. It reminds us that we are scientists first, continuously seeking, applying the best available evidence to help our clients, ensuring our practices are both effective and ethical.
It's about being a lifelong learner and a critical consumer of research.
Yeah.
Always striving for that highest standard.
Making sure we're not just practicing, but practicing smart. Phew. Okay. We've just navigated through a challenging, but I think incredibly insightful set of questions, really pushed our understanding of the BCBA domains. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, as you prepare for your BCBA journey, or maybe just expand your understanding of the field?
Well, what these questions vividly illustrate is the true breadth, the depth, and maybe most importantly, the interconnectedness of the knowledge required. Not just for certification, but crucially for effective practice. We've gone beyond just picking the right answer, right? We've tried to explore why it's correct and how it fits into that larger framework. So to summarize, we've really touched deeply upon. First, behavior change procedures, that big chunk, 20–30% of the exam. It's not just a list of techniques. It's about the practical, nuanced application. Strategies like differential reinforcement, prompt fading, token economies, applying them to increase desired behaviors, teach new skills, foster independence.
And understanding the function, always understanding the function.
Always. And selecting the most constructive, least restrictive, most effective intervention tailored to the individual. Like our discussion on DRA showed, it's not just stopping a tantrum, it's replacing it with a functional, positive communication skill. That leads to lasting change. Second, foundations of behavior analysis. These are the underlying principles, the how and why of behavior. We looked at how to effectively train others using BST, ensuring competence across teams, and how to teach complex sequences using chaining, like backward chaining, which leverages natural reinforcement. These foundational bits are critical for building complex interventions, ensuring the science is correctly applied, whether it's with a client or a supervisee. Third, professional conduct and scope of practice. That 10–15%, that's your ethical compass. It guides every single decision. from managing referrals when you lack experience to ensuring ethical billing even under pressure, and that absolute imperative of using evidence-based interventions.
Yeah, ethics isn't just a separate module, is it? It infuses everything.
Absolutely. Our discussions show that ethical decision-making isn't just a topic. It's integral to every action we take. It demands integrity, collaboration, and that commitment to lifelong learning. And fourth, supervision and personnel management, another 10–15%. Essential skills for leading and supporting your team. We looked at ensuring consistent, high-quality supervision across dispersed RBTs using technology, and constructively addressing performance issues by first understanding the root cause through skills assessments. Effective BCBAs aren't just practitioners, they're also leaders, mentors, responsible for the competence, the professional development, the ethical conduct of their supervisees. So what becomes really clear is that these aren't isolated silos of information, Ethical conduct informs how you select and implement behavior change procedures. Foundational principles guide how you train staff and analyze complex cases. Effective supervision relies on understanding ethics and behavior change. To truly master this material, you need to see the threads connecting them all.
Absolutely. It's not just separate boxes. You need to understand not just what the answer is, but why it's the right choice, how it fits into the bigger picture of ethical, effective practice, and how it connects to those other domains. The BCBA exam, it's not just about memorization. It's about deep understanding, critical thinking, and the ability to apply these principles flexibly, ethically.
Being able to analyze a situation, apply the correct principles, and make a sound ethical decision that prioritizes client welfare and professional integrity in a dynamic environment. That's the goal.
Okay, so you've just had a taste of the intellectual rigor involved in becoming a BCBA and the sheer volume of interconnected material you need to nail down. Now, let's talk about smart, efficient strategies, not just to pass the exam, but to truly master these principles and confidently apply them in your career. Because, let's be honest, with so many prep resources out there, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, right? You might find yourself drowning in textbooks, endless flashcards, maybe generic practice tests that don't quite hit the mark.
Yeah, the challenge isn't just the volume. It's how to organize it, prioritize it, make sure it sticks in a way that's actually applicable.
Exactly. And that's where understanding our active learning science comes in. For high-stakes, comprehensive exams like the BCBA certification, just, reading the book over and over often falls short.
That's right. What truly works are strategies rooted in cognitive psychology and behavioral principles themselves. Things like active recall, spaced repetition, deliberate practice, getting immediate, targeted feedback. These are the principles that innovative platforms are now leveraging to provide a structured, engaging, and highly effective path to certification success. They use technology to make the learning process not just more efficient, but genuinely more insightful and personalized.
That's a crucial distinction. It's not just about more study time, it's about smarter study time. Let's unpack some of these evidence-based learning principles and how a modern platform like FlashGenius actually applies them to optimize your preparation for a demanding exam like the BCBA cert. Okay, first, a key principle is adaptive instruction, making sure every moment you spend studying is productive. Imagine not wasting a single moment on stuff you already know. FlashGenius offers a tailored learning path. It's step-by-step, AI-guided. This path adapts to your specific goals and progress. It tells you exactly what to study and when.
So it figures out where you're weak and focuses you there.
Exactly. The immense benefit. Faster prep, no wasted effort. No more guessing what to focus on next. No more sifting through topics you already know well. The AI understands your strengths and weaknesses, guiding you precisely where you need the most improvement.
That's incredibly valuable when your time is limited. Every study session counts. It's like having a personal tutor who knows exactly what you need. That adaptive learning approach is absolutely critical. Rote memorization alone just won't cut it for the BCBA exam.
Right. It requires true comprehension, the ability to apply knowledge. That often means revisiting concepts in different ways until they click. An adaptive path ensures your cognitive load is optimized, focusing resources where they're most needed.
Exactly. And another critical learning principle is varied practice. As we just saw in our quiz, different domains need different focus, and real exams mix everything up. FlashGenius offers domain and mixed practice modes, so you can either focus deeply on individual exam domains like we did to systematically build expertise in, say, behavior change procedures, or you can tackle questions across all domains to simulate the real exam environment.
So you can drill down or practice like the real thing.
Right. This provides balanced prep, strengthening both your weak areas through focused study and your overall readiness through integrated practice. You can dive deep, then switch to a full simulation. Ensures you're ready for whatever the exam throws at you. That ability to switch between focused domain practice and mixed simulations, that's a powerful strategy. It's rooted in the science of interleaving. It lets you systematically build expertise in specific areas before testing your ability to integrate that knowledge across the whole curriculum. Mirrors the cognitive demands of the actual exam. This kind of varied practice, it doesn't just improve retention, it also enhances your ability to discriminate between concepts and apply them appropriately in diverse contexts.
Okay, then there's the principle of stress inoculation and performing under pressure. Test day anxiety is huge for so many people. Flash Genius incorporates real exam simulations. They accurately mirror the actual test environment, timed conditions, the whole 9 yards.
So you get used to the clock ticking down.
Exactly. This helps you manage pacing, build endurance, and significantly reduce that pre-exam stress. You'll walk into your exam feeling more confident, more prepared, not surprised by the format or the time constraints. Practicing under timed pressure is key to performing optimally on the big day. Familiarizes your brain with the conditions.
Simulating the exam environment is crucial not just for time management, but also for building mental stamina, reducing anxiety. The BCBA exam is long, requires sustained focus. So familiarizing yourself with that experience can significantly reduce cognitive load, improve performance, builds a kind of procedural fluency for the exam-taking process itself.
Makes sense. Okay, next up. Active recall and spaced repetition. Two of the most powerful study techniques known, really. Certification exams demand memorizing tricky concepts, complex acronyms, sometimes even formulas. Flash Genius's interactive flashcards for quick review aren't just static cards, They're linked to a smart review system. This makes them perfect for reinforcing key topics, solidifying recall through active engagement. Great for those crucial last-minute revision bursts, too.
So it forces you to pull the information out of your brain, not just reread it.
Exactly. You'll retain knowledge longer and recall it faster on exam day because the system helps you prioritize what you need to review based on your performance. It strategically spaces out reviews to maximize memory consolidation.
Flashcards, when used effectively like that, are a cornerstone of active recall. The interactive aspect, coupled with a smart review system, turns them into a highly dynamic learning tool. Optimizes retention, targets areas where memory is weakest.
Now, this next one is where Flash Genius truly shines, I think. It embodies the principle of targeted diagnostic feedback. It's AI-powered smart review with targeted insights. It doesn't just tell you right or wrong. Its powerful AI analyzes your mistakes, and it gives you targeted, detailed explanations for why you got it wrong and also why the correct answer is correct.
So it explains the reasoning.
Yes. This means you turn every single mistake into a profound learning opportunity, truly understanding the underlying concepts rather than just memorizing answers. It's like having a personal tutor dissecting every error with you, providing remediation exactly where you need it.
Understanding why an answer is correct or incorrect, that's fundamental to deep learning. Moving beyond superficial knowledge, this AI-driven feedback fosters critical thinking, conceptual mastery, which is essential for applying these principles in the real world, not just on an exam. It's about learning from your errors intelligently.
And what's really fascinating is how you can also learn from a common mistakes database. This applies the principle of error analysis on a grand scale. You benefit from the collective wisdom, basically, of thousands of learners who've walked this path before you. Flash Genius captures the most common pitfalls and highlights them during practice.
So it warns you about common traps.
Yeah, it helps you proactively avoid the traps that cause others to falter. This meta-learning approach provides a significant advantage, points out common misconceptions before you even make them yourself.
That feature is invaluable. It's like having access to a behavioral epidemiologist for exam prep, identifying patterns of error, allowing you to preemptively strengthen those areas that commonly trip up other candidates. It's an incredibly efficient way to learn from collective experience. Target those tricky concepts.
And for our global listeners, or really anyone similarly more comfortable studying in their native tongue, Flash Genius offers multilingual support. Instant translation into 9 languages. This breaks down accessibility barriers, right? Allows you to study in the language you understand best. That's a game changer for diverse learners who might otherwise face unnecessary linguistic hurdles during intense prep. Lets them focus entirely on the complex behavioral concepts.
Absolutely. Language should never be a barrier to high-quality education, especially for a field with global impact like behavior analysis. Providing multilingual support significantly broadens access, ensures the focus remains on mastering the concepts, not struggling with translation.
We all know that studying for long, uninterrupted hours, it can lead to burnout, decreased retention, classic diminishing returns on effort. Flash Genius includes a built-in Pomodoro timer for focused productivity. Helps you study in focused bursts, improves both productivity and retention.
Breaking it down into manageable chunks.
Right. This is about applying principles of attention and cognitive load, helping you study smarter, not just harder, optimizing your attention span, preventing fatigue.
Integrating productivity tools like that directly into the study platform, it reflects a deep understanding of effective learning science. Breaking down study sessions into manageable, focused intervals can dramatically improve information processing, long-term memory consolidation. Crucial for retaining the sheer volume of info for the BCBA exam.
And finally, no more juggling multiple platforms or endless browser tabs. Flash Genius serves as a one-stop study resource hub. Alongside their extensive practice questions, you get access to comprehensive study guides, cheat sheets, expertly curated resources, all in one convenient place.
Everything you need, streamlined.
Pretty much. From foundational reading to quick reference materials, it's right there. Streamlines your entire study process, reduces that cognitive overhead.
You know, what truly makes Flash Genius stand out, I think, from maybe more basic practice test providers, is this truly holistic AI-driven approach. It combines all these evidence-based learning principles we've talked about, from adaptive guidance and targeted feedback to powerful study tools into a single, seamless platform. It's designed not just to prepare you to pass the exam, but to profoundly understand the material and succeed in your career. By building truly foundational, adaptable knowledge, it provides an integrated ecosystem that supports every facet of a rigorous certification journey, transforms what could be an overwhelming process into a clear strategic path. Hashtag tag outro.
What a deep dive we've taken today. Wow. We've journeyed through critical BCBA concepts, tested our knowledge with some challenging questions, and explored how modern, intelligent learning tools, really grounded in the science of learning, can completely transform your certification preparation. It's abundantly clear that mastering these diverse, interconnected domains is absolutely key to becoming an effective, ethical, and highly competent behavior analyst, someone who can truly make a difference.
Indeed. The BCBA certification journey, it's undeniably challenging. Requires dedication, thorough preparation. But it is profoundly rewarding. It equips you with specialized expertise to make a significant positive impact on individuals' lives. And knowing how to prepare effectively by leveraging proven learning principles and intelligent tools, that's truly half the battle. It empowers you to approach the exam with confidence and a solid, applicable understanding.
This raises an important question, maybe something for you to mull over as you go about your day. Beyond simply passing the exam, how might these cutting-edge AI-powered learning approaches revolutionize continuous professional development throughout your entire career, ensuring you always stay at the forefront of evidence-based practice, that you never stop learning, adapting, growing? How can these tools support lifelong learning in our field? If you're ready to level up your career and approach your BCBA certification with greater confidence and smarter strategies, we highly encourage you to check out Flash Genius. Explore their offerings, start your free trial today, experience the difference for yourself. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.